overhead adhesive injection, retaining cap system. For the retaining cap system portion of the overhead adhesive injection performance exam, you will be required to demonstrate your ability to properly inject the adhesive into an overhead hole using a retaining cap system. You will demonstrate this ability by injecting adhesive into a clear plastic tube that is hidden from view except for the open bottom end. While the clear plastic tube presents a different surface for injection than a hole in concrete, your ability to inject adhesive into the tube with minimal voids is a good indicator of your ability to do the same in concrete. You will have no prior knowledge of the depth of the hole. All the equipment necessary for a proper installation will be provided. When preparing for a vertical up installation using a retaining cap system, first review the generic manufacturer's printed installation instructions, or MPII, and the Materials Safety Data Sheet, or MSDS. Then look over the equipment required for the installation. Verify that you have everything you need to perform this installation properly. Be sure to examine the equipment carefully. Some of the equipment provided may not be appropriate for this installation. Selection of the correct equipment is a requirement of the performance exam. Be certain to follow all safety requirements of the generic MPII and MSDS. Verify that the adhesive is not expired by checking the expiration information on the cartridge. An expiration date is provided on the adhesive cartridge. This should be verified. In addition, the cartridge should not have been stored in conditions or at temperatures outside of the parameters specified in the generic MPII. Using a tape measure or other suitable device, measure the depth of the overhead hole. Then proceed to mark on the extension tube the hole depth and the location where the hole will be 2/3 full of adhesive. Be sure to mark the tubing in the correct spot, which in this instance will be closer to the end of the tube. Use a permanent marker or tape to make the initial mark on the extension tubing. It has been observed that the use of masking tape as a marker on the tubing has proved quite reliable in obtaining the 2/3 full point. Be sure to wrap the masking tape around the tube a number of times at the desired location, as this will create a speed bump with the tape. If you set the bottom of the masking tape at approximately the 2/3 full point, you will know the tube is 2/3 full when the bottom of the masking tape hits the retaining cap. Now assemble the cartridge, dispenser, mixing nozzle, and extension tube as required in the generic MPII. Next, waste the initial amount of adhesive coming out of the mixing nozzle to the side in accordance with the generic MPII. Now install the retaining cap into the hole and then insert the extension tube through the X-shaped cut in the cap. Make sure the extension tubing hits the top of the hole and then retract the tube about 1/8 of an inch to provide room for the adhesive to exit the tube. Now start to pump the dispenser and twist the tubing around the interior of the hole while doing so. This will wet the hole with product and create a head or mass of product in the tube. Once you feel you have 1 inch or 2 of product filled in the deepest part of the tube, you can stop twisting the tube and begin to withdraw the tube at a reasonably constant rate while continuously injecting adhesive. The end of the tube should remain within the mass of the adhesive at all times. Withdrawing the tube too fast can result in voids in the adhesive. Continue to inject adhesive to approximately 2/3 the hole depth. You may see the tape coming into contact with the retaining cap, and you will feel the tape ridge make contact with the cap. It might even give you a little resistance when pulling it through the cap. Tell the supplemental examiner when you feel you have reached the 2/3 mark. Failure to do this step will result in failing this portion of the exam and will require a retest. Simply overfilling the hole to ensure you filled it completely is unacceptable. After you have told the examiner that you have reached the 2/3 mark, the examiner will ask you to completely fill the tube with adhesive to prevent the adhesive from sagging into the airspace above the retaining cap. The examiner will then ask you what the next step is, and you are to explain that the next step is to insert the clean anchor in accordance with the generic MPII, and then support and protect the anchor until the adhesive is fully cured. The tube you fill with adhesive will be cut in two after the adhesive is hardened. If your tube is found to contain voids greater than permitted by this program, it will result in failure of this portion of the exam. This concludes the demonstration of overhead adhesive injection using a retaining cap system. For additional details regarding the requirements for passing this certification exam, refer to the information in the front of the Adhesive Anchor Installer Workbook.